And I asked one of the gentlemen that I met with here this last week who has direct input into the Homeland Security kind of process. I said, do you think that the leadership is aware of just what's happening to the South? Aware of the creation of this new bank down there? Aware of the movement of dollars into euros? All this kind of thing? Aware of the tremendous ill feelings to the large majority of our relatives in this world, especially in the South, for what we've done? Are they aware of the whole belly of this hemisphere going through this change? He says, no, I don't think so. Because all this focus is all about looking over to the Middle East. And as you can see, we might slow it down in Iraq a little bit, and it picks up in Afghanistan. So now you go jump into Iran, and so I really like that thing. I mean, it's time to dialogue. Last thing, I'm sorry to go. Maybe this is kind of a healing thing for me, but I'm glad I'm going to kind of share this feeling with you. I believe we have to have consultation with everybody. I do not believe that we're going to solve this by saying, I can't talk to you, and I can't talk to you, and I can't talk to you. I think we have to be open and have our hearts open to talk to everybody. Anybody. Whether it be the Prime Minister of Iran or who it is. I think it's time we have to have dialogue and consultation. If we don't, we're going to pay some high prices. Okay. Well, thank you. See you all a lot. See you later. All right. And by the way, this thing is a very difficult consultation process. I had a chance when I flew back from Salt Lake just 2 weeks ago to fly back. It turned out the young man I flew back with was to the brigade. That's about 3 to 5,000. Yeah. And it turned out we started talking. Really nice young man, and we talked about our children. And then he had talked. He'd been in Iraq for 16 or 18 months. And then it turned out, I said, well, were you responsible for anybody? He said, yes, I was the adjutant to the brigade commander, and I did all the daily orders to send men out. And then we talked a little bit more, and I said, well, when did you enter the military? It turned out he'd gone to graduate from West Point, and he has to go back again. And what a fine young man. I have to tell you this. He had such an understanding of the tribal people they're dealing with there. And so I can see how we're caught in this thing. I mean, it's really a trap. And it's kind of like there's a side that says if you pull out, then what happens? If you don't pull out, we can prolong it, what continues to happen? And I don't know, some place I think we have to bring people to a higher vision. Meaning that what we're calling for is it's time to come home and rebuild this hemisphere. It's time to come home and rebuild this hemisphere. It's time to demonstrate to the world what peace is. And I'm afraid that an either-or kind of deal is not going to work. What I'm meaning is, it just seems to me that we've got to create a vision for people to enter into that takes these resources and this energy and puts them to a place it's going to make out for the long run a vision for the future. And I'm afraid that continuing war is not going to get it. On the other hand, I feel for the people who are stuck in this, and all the propaganda that's used. To even our Native American community, we're split. We have people we have served. There is no other group that has more veterans in the military who've served in the military more than Native Americans. Isn't that strange? Because when we made our treaties, we promised to protect this country, and whether or not others wanted to honor the treaties, we've honored them. So I can see that from my father and my uncle. So we have our community that because of the impoverishment of our communities, the only thing we have anything about being proud of is the fact we've had veterans. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We're in poverty, and we've been sold this deal. In a way, I think that some of us, it's a sell job of saying, well, in order to really mean something in this world, you have to give your life. You have to die. And I don't know. Sooner or later, I think we've got to change that equation and say, we have to live. Living is okay. You don't have to be crucified. You don't have to die in order to have a good life. It is not dishonorable when you see that a situation was a mistake to step back. To stay in it was a mistake. To me, Maybe it might even be, I guess some would see that, oh, we got to stay in there and hang in the course. But this was obviously a mistake. I mean, one more little thing to add. I'm sorry to go on because I'm taking people's time, but it's really important. We keep Crazy Horse's pipe here, Chief Crazy Horse's pipe. He fought the U.S. military 22 times and he beat him 22 times. Now, if you think about it, this is not a negative fighting deal. I'm just going to say, here's these little groups of indigenous people here, tribal people, small, with our families with us, grandmothers and so forth, and yet look at the fight we put up. Superior armaments, everything else, but we put up a pretty good struggle. At the same time, when we made peace, that was it. We supported this country, and we still do. But think about what it's like to drop 160,000, 180,000 troops in the middle of millions and millions and millions of relatives who really are feeling like their life and their tribal ways and their way of life is being threatened. They'll fight you. Does that make any sense what I'm saying? I don't want to, I don't articulate this to anybody. I don't come out and try to be a, that, but I feel like here I can kind of share my feelings.